Question number 16. Monochromatic light of wavelength lambda is incident on two slits S1 and S2. An interference pattern is observed. Why do we get interference pattern? See, one light from here, one ray of light from here arrives at this point. Other ray of light from here will arrive at this point. If the path difference between them is 0, what is path difference? Let this distance, what is the distance of this one? Let us say this path is S1O. This distance is S2O. So since O is at the middle, this S1O will be equal to S2O, which means what? Path difference is 0, right? Whatever it says, the same thing. O is equidistant from S1 and S2, right? A bright fringe is observed at O, bright fringe is observed at O, that's right. And a dark fringe is at X. Here you have a dark fringe, here you have a bright fringe, right? And then there are two fringes between O and X. Between O and X, there are two dark fringes. Two dark fringes, okay? Let me do one thing. This is bright. After bright, you should get one dark here. Let me call this D1. Then again you should have a bright one, then again you should have a dark one, then let me call B1, okay. So let me first call this as B1, so this should be D1, this is B2, this is D2. Now I accounted for this one. Now once again it says X is a dark, which means what? There should be B3 here and there should be your D3 over here. Okay, now we have seen all these things. What is the path difference between the light arriving at X between the two slits? So what is the path difference at X? So which means one ray of light will start from here, arrive at this point. Other ray of light will start from here, arrive at this point. What is the path difference? What is the path difference? He is asking you the path difference here. Okay. So how do we do it? The first thing what we do is, see when you have, okay, let me write it down in detail. So it will be useful for us. Okay. So if the two rays meet at B1, if they meet at B1, then the path difference is equal to 0, right? And if they meet at D1, which means what? If they meet it at this point, then the path difference should be equal to half lambda, which you have already studied. I am not going to teach you the whole thing, lambda by 2. Okay. And if the path difference is at B2, okay, which means what? The rays meet at this point. One ray goes over here, other ray goes over here. Then the path difference here, this path difference over here, this difference that you have will be equal to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2, which will be lambda over here. Now, if I continue my rule like this over here, where do I need here? I need it at D3. Okay, let me write down one by one. At B2 I get here. At D2 I should add one more lambda here, which should be lambda plus lambda by 2, which should be equal to 3 lambda by 2, right? Then again at B3, what do I get? Path difference here would be equal to 3 lambda by 2 plus half lambda. Every time I am going to add only half lambda, which should be equal to 4 lambda by 2, which is equal to 2 lambda. Then what do I need at D3? At D3, the path difference would now be equal to 2 lambda plus lambda by 2, which should be equal to 5 lambda. Have we arrived at the target? Let us look at it. Where do I need? I need it at D3, right? We have come to D3, yes. So which is 5 lambda by 2. So the answer should be 5 lambda by 2. Okay. Let us move on to the